most people and most doctors, most medical professionals,
Right.
when they talk about weight loss, somewhere in that discussion, they're going to talk about calories in and calories out,
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
right? So, and again, I'm speaking with you because we know a lot of the same things,
Right.
but you're always representing the people, right? So you'll
Yeah.
ask questions to help bring clarity so that whatever I bring up, the same as what you bring up, we can then kind of help people get more out of their time spent with us.
Right. They can understand.
Yes.
Yes.
So calories, and for those who are listening in on this, I want you to thoroughly get this,
Right.
is we're going to call it energy, because that's what it is.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And when you hear people talk about calories in, calories out, the thought is that if you eat less, so if you bring in fewer calories
Right.
and you move more, because in movement you burn more calories, that's how you lose weight.
Yes.
Now, I know a lot about the history of how calories became calories the way we see it today. And I want to talk about that because in that it will help people realize that weight loss is not primarily based on calories in and calories out. And if it's not based on calories in, calories out, what is it based on?
Exactly. I was going to say, well, then, yeah.
Right?
Let's share.
Now, have you ever seen what they call a bomb calorie meter?
A bomb count? I have not.
Okay, so a bomb calorie meter is a function. It's a way where they take water, oxygen, heat, and they put it in this chamber, a bomb, if you will.
Yeah.
And they look at how fast it burns or what is necessary for it to burn as the heat is increased.
Right.
And once it hits that 1 degree Celsius, then you start to see this meltdown.
Okay.
And that's how they're able to say that if you eat this many chips, it has this many calories.
Got it.
If you eat that burger, then it has this many calories.
Yes, makes sense.
Right? And so it's that function that helps people understand like how many calories are in certain foods.
Right, right.
Right? And so then, along the way, everyone started focusing on calories. And there was a woman, Dr. Lulu Peters. She came out a book in the early 1900s. She was a physician. There weren't many women physicians, Barbara, at the time.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And she wanted to lose some weight. And so calories was still fairly new. There was some progress taking place as a result of this guy named Atwater, Wilbur Atwater.
Atwater, okay.
So this isn't a history lesson, but
I know.
they come to mind. It helps me stay on track.
Right.
And so as people were becoming more and more knowledgeable of calories, and not most people, she decided to write a book because she liked the idea of when you look at foods, you look at the food not for the food, but how many calories are with it. So she created an association. So
Okay.
she would, instead of saying, I'm going to have a slice of cake, she would say, I'm going to have a slice of 200 calorie cake.
So she was thinking more like energy.
Right. And
Yeah.
so she kind of went with that. And I don't want 500 calorie cake. I'm going to eat the 200 calorie cake. And as a result, she ended up losing a significant amount of weight.
Oh, how interesting.
And it was one of the first books, diet related books, that became extremely popular.
Ah.
I mean, it killed it based on today's standards. So all of that being said, you now have more and more people like becoming knowledgeable of calories. And we still don't have calories on all the food, but we have an idea.
Right.
Like I don't know if you ever like looked at calories growing up, but before we had the internet, before we had these apps, I remember buying these books and having books in my car and books in my office where I could open it up, look at the index, look at a donut, and it would tell me how many calories and what the breakdown of those calories were, which would be protein, fats, carbohydrates, etc.
Right, the macros.
Now you can just pick up your phone and boom. You
I
got it
know.
done.
It's so easy now.
Okay, so here's the point. So I had to say all of that to get to the place
Right.
about calories, how I want people to start to look at calories. Wood, if you were to eat it, has calories.
Right.
There's energy in wood.
Yeah.
If I were to cut your hair and eat it, there's energy in your hair.
That, and then you'd be magical too.
I would be magical.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm thinking of some characters, some Disney characters. There's energy in a donut. There's energy in meat.
Right.
There's energy in strawberries, right? So there's energy in these foods
Right.
based on the bomb calorie meter.
Okay.
not based on our body, because our bodies aren't a bomb calorie meter. So that's the first disconnect.
Yes. I like where
Because
this is going.
Our bodies are unique. They're unique.
Right.
And there's still a lot we don't understand, right? So, but we've looked at calories in, calories out based on what takes place inside of this bomb calorie meter.
Yes.
Well, there's another thing that people aren't thinking about, because if calories in, calories out was the sole premise for how we lose weight, why is it that certain people who all eat the same amount of calories aren't able to lose weight?
Exactly. Yep.
Because it's not just about the energy in the food that we're consuming or the movement as far as the energy.
Right.
It's the impact of the calories that we consume on the hormones that are triggered.
Right.
Right? Because if I eat a white potato, if I eat white rice, brown rice, carbohydrate-rich foods,
Right.
it's going to trigger the release of insulin. And insulin is a storage hormone, which isn't good or bad. It just is what it is.
Right.
But it's mostly looked at as the primary hormone for why we gain weight.
Yes.
So if I ate protein, something that's rich in protein,
Yeah.
chicken, fish, shrimp, tofu, insulin is still stimulated, right, and triggered, but not to the extent if it's primarily carbs.
Got it. Yes.
And then there's other hormones, right? Because if I'm having a stressful day and I'm eating that donut, there's a hormone called cortisol.
Yes.
That's like the belly fat hormone.
Right. And a lot of people hear about that.
And they hear a lot about that.
Yes.
And that's another hormone that's triggered not just by the foods we eat,
Yes.
but a lot of how life is unfolding.
Yes.
Well, then there's another hormone called acylation stimulating protein, ASP. And if you didn't eat carbs, and if you didn't eat protein-rich foods, and let's say you ate something that's primarily fat, well, insulin's probably not being secreted.
Okay.
There's other hormones that we could talk about, but they're not being secreted. And insulin's the one that we're thinking about.
Right.
But acylation stimulating protein is, and that's a protein that then will trigger insulin to get in the game.
Okay.
So fat can trigger insulin through a chain of events that can then cause you to gain body fat.
Yes.
With me?
Yes.
So if we just look at that, if we just look at what I just said, and we know that 100 calories of broccoli totally is experienced in our body different than 100 calories of jelly beans.
Yeah. Or donuts or something.
Or 100 calories of donuts.
Right.
Or 100 calories of strawberries.
Yes.
Then it can't be about calories in and calories out.
Absolutely.
And this is where the magic of the Diet Free Life method comes from, or a big part of it is because we know that it's not specifically what we've just talked about. It has more to do with how your hormones respond to the foods that you consume.
Right. Absolutely.